Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which I'm gonna use your imagination, in which we are gonna discuss together about the fate of one tank, and no, it's not the one you're seeing on screen. Weirdly enough, it's the French tier 8 medium tank, the CDC, called Chasseur de Chars, if we say it in French. Why am I doing this video with the Dracula currently being displayed on screen? Because in my opinion, and this is the point I'm gonna try to make in this video, I feel like Wargaming totally fucked up the AMX CDC when they first did it. And here is my explanation. If we take into consideration the timeline of different tanks being implemented in World of Tanks Blitz, you will find that the Dracula was here at least 1 year, one whole year before the AMX CDC, which implies that obviously Wargaming had to make some changes because the first time the Dracula was introduced, and still to these days, it's a broken tank. It's a tank that has so much reactivity and not so many flaws beside maybe the armor profile that it's just the go-to medium tank when we talk about tier 7. And I feel like Wargaming wanted to avoid that when they released the CDC, because of course you see the similarities between both tanks, the Dracula just being an overpowered CDC put one tier below. And of course, I can totally understand Wargaming fear concerning the Dracula. When you take a look at it currently in this replay, you see that the tank is quite agile, and specifically on that move I did on the 53 TP, I had the time to poke around, snap my shot, go back until the guy even manages to realize what's happening. And the problem is, and this is why we start with the Dracula gameplay, when you're gonna take a look at the CDC gameplay being displayed right after, you will feel like the CDC is just too slow. In my opinion, Wargaming nerfed the wrong thing about the AMX CDC. In World of Tanks PC, the AMX Chasseur de Chars is basically one of the few tanks that has a crazy mobility, and that's why the community loves it. I mean, you have 1000 horsepower, so the same as the one you have on the mouse, even more because the mouse actually has way more than that, but on something that is less than 50 tons in terms of weight. So obviously you're expecting it to go extremely fast, and it does go fast because you go around 60 kilometers per hour, but it's lacking. It's lacking the speed to weight ratio. What I mean by that is that the AMX CDC is just taking too long, and I feel like a lot of people will disagree, but takes too long to get to the top speed. The Dracula, for example, goes from 0 to 60 kilometers in what? 5 seconds? 6 seconds? It's gonna take you at least 9 with the AMX CDC. And this is a huge problem because obviously when you are playing a French medium with no armor and 1000 horsepower, you are expecting something that goes really fast, because going fast will allow you to relocate like we are currently doing with the Dracula. We played on every single side of that game. We went at first to the middle because we have the mobility to take advanced position at the beginning of the game and therefore snapshots. We went on the other side of the map, the town, because we saw someone that was totally alone, and of course a lonely enemy is a deadly or a dead enemy. So we got here and killed him. And after, when we realized that most of their team were camping on the back, we went on the last side, the top right, top left corner, in order to be able to snapshots and spot for the rest of the team. This is something that you can do with the CDC, don't mind me, but you are really gonna struggle doing so with the tank. And of course, Wargaming tried to rebalance it by giving it, for example, a better gun, because you have 225 hit points, alpha damage. It's preferably saying alpha damage, it's preferable. So you have 225 hit points of damage for 5.5 seconds of reload. When you take a look at it, it's a great DPM with a great mobility, but the mobility is just not enough. Not to the point where it's legitimately competing with the Dracula that you're currently seeing on screen. So now I would like you to really keep in mind the Dracula gameplay we saw and take a look at the one in CDC right now. The first thing is the top speed. I feel like if you watch closely the beginning of the Dracula game and the beginning of the CDC game, the CDC feels much fatter. I mean, it just feels like there is something missing. I don't know, maybe 100 horsepower or something like that. And I wish that Wargaming could finally do something about that and give us the exact same CDC as the one we have in World of Tanks PC. And I know that it's not necessarily a good thing for many tanks, because in World of Tanks PC there are a lot of tanks that are totally broken that have been balanced in World of Tanks Blitz. And that's right, because if they didn't do that, we would just see premiums all the way around, even if it starts getting like that right now. But at least they did something. But for the CDC, it was not a necessity. I mean, the big and crazy advantage that both the CDC and the Dracula have in common are advantages that are good only when you are a good player. And to be fair, if you do well with the CDC, you deserve to have something that is effectively good on the battlefield. Now, of course, I have to do a little bit of a slowdown on my presentation, because I can't tell you that the CDC is a bad tank. It's not that it's a bad tank, it's just that you, or at least I am expecting with a CDC to be able to go from one corner of the map to another in just the snap of a finger. It's something you can do with the Dracula, it's something you will never be able to do with the CDC. And even if it's probably due to its size, I wish that Wargaming could change that. Make the tank a little bit more relevant, or relevant again, because nowadays not a lot of people are playing it. And if not a lot of people are playing it, it's simply because, first, not a lot of people bought it, and second, among the people that bought this tank, a lot of them were disappointed because they were expecting something close to a Dracula. So Wargaming, please try to counterbalance it for it to be closer to the Dracula without being the Dracula itself, because we don't need another Dracula one tier higher. But if you could do something, that would be awesome. And I don't know if you guys agree with what I just said. If that's the case, tell me in the comments. And if you totally disagree with me, just tell me in the comments why. Why do you think that the CDC doesn't deserve the critics I'm handing right now? Because I'm gonna stay on my position, to be fair, except if really someone tries or manages to prove me wrong, but I doubt it's going to happen, because sometimes I really stay on my position. It's a little bit of a default by myself, but yeah, we still did 4k damage, close to 4k damage, but it's not as satisfying as a Dracula game. It's not as enjoyable as a Dracula, and for that, I think that Wargaming should do something. And to be fair, if they don't touch any other parts of the tank, because it's not a necessity, just the mobility by increasing maybe the horsepower by 50 or something like that, we could definitely get a new angle and a new vision on the AMX CDC, which would be great. So if you agree with my rant, feel free to subscribe, like and share. And if it's not the case, still feel free to subscribe, like and share. And also tell me in the comments why you disagree. It will be my pleasure to read you. And hopefully I'm going to see you soon for a new video. Bye.